really handsome, eh?
Boy, you must say you take after me and not your mother, boy.
What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about, I did a video yesterday, Falling in Love Again over a 1996 album. And the attempt was to really go back and show, if we don't keep abreast of the years that went by, and we don't see the things that made, let's say, Mama Lou and I happy, it could become a very distant memory. So when I picked up this album and I saw all the beautiful pictures of us traveling here, there, and everywhere, Canada and all these places, right? And I realized, hey boy, Mommy and I had a really wonderful time together. And if God will it, this year we will be 53 years married in April, on the 11th of April. So I just was thrilled.
Do you feel the same way about Mommy? As you did in 1900 when you all got married?
1971.
Oh, 1971, sorry.
No, but listen to me. Mommy asked me once, do you love me as much as when you first met me?
Oh.
And I said, Mommy, I was so much in love with you. I was at the pinnacle of love. I couldn't love you more. But I appreciate you more. You understand? I appreciate you more. And the more we are together is the more I appreciate you.
You go ahead. You talk.
Yes. So I really find that if I could appreciate my wife more, and I could look back into the depths of what we enjoy together, I find myself easier to help her, easier to love her, easier to serve her. And my service is not one of subservience. I did once we did something called I am not henpecked, but Louis said I am handpicked. And I would say that for me, she was God picked. And we can't exclude God in our marriages. If we exclude the Creator, the one who created all things wonderful, if we exclude God, we're going to be losers. So we have to serve in sincerity and truth, and we have to serve in the home life in sincerity and truth. Your children they got one chance at this, Your children, my children, have one chance with their own homes. We have to learn to put the Lord first. Anyway, yesterday in some of the comments, Ronald Casatana asked a question. After a long time of being with someone, for example, 30, 40, or 50 years, can the love you had or felt for that person for so long decrease or increase in magnitude? What could be some of the reasons, talking about being in love, not in the context of the physical activities or intimacy, just that feeling you have in your heart for that person? Could that feeling someday become a void? What do you think, old man?
I think God had a call Kimberly and ask her. She could say, yeah, but it could become a void. That really is possible.
Well, I'll tell you something. If there are some truths about marriage that if you avoid them, then you will end up with a void. Right?
Sounding good, boy.
It's sounding good, eh?
Yes.
There are some truths about marriage. One, there's a bond that must be forged between the husband and the wife. Good?
Sorry, just to interject for a bit. Remember that, right? The bond that you forge. I am probably looking very rude right now because I'm on my phone filling out a form here while Dad is talking. I established, before he started to tape this video, that here's what you'll be doing your thing and I will be doing my thing, and occasionally I will jump in, right? So tell me about the bond while I continue to do. I'm filling out the passport form for Farmer Harry here.
Farmer Harry.
Am I distracting you?
Not at all,
Okay,
man. I am happy that you're here.
Go ahead.
So this bond is not for 5 years. This bond is not for 6 years. This bond is not for 7 years.
It's a bondage for eternity.
It's not bondage, my boy. It's not bondage. But you know what I found with Louise and I? especially when Louise is asleep and I look at her and I say, am I grateful for all that she put into our marriage? Am I really grateful? Do I really appreciate this woman who wanted to be a homemaker? Somebody put out a comment the other day, boy, and they gave a list about a housewife, and the kind of detail they went into, I'm sorry I can't pull it up at the moment, the kind of detail they went into about the pressures of a housewife. At the end of it, I was tired. I got tired. And that's why we have this natural thing about 50-50. If Louise is cooking and I come out here after we eat and I see the dishes, I think it's kind of unfair to let her turn around and do all those dishes.
Kimberly think it kind of unfair too.
So you help out?
No.
You learn nothing from your wife? You learn nothing?
Oh, no. I have seen your example over the years, and you're a really poor performer in the kitchen. Daddy, like me, has a hard time microwaving food. But you do a lot of different things, boy, that you keep the home running, and things that I guess growing up in your era, even things that people might have look at you and say, but he's a I am boy. People from that area might even say, well, you kind of girly, boy. Sweet. No, it's weird how some long time, I remember being by someone, an older lady, and I started washing some ways. I guess I was only washing those ways based on your example and seeing you do it. If you go by people or
it wasn't clean, I hope.
I tried. But she said to me, she said, no, you don't wash those ways. I said, no, it's fine, I don't mind washing it. She said, yeah, but I don't like to see boys doing them things, So there is a kind of school of thought that I have seen it, particularly in people like above 65 in 2024 now. But that idea that you're going, I have spoken to people and they say, hey, it's almost like you have a contract. I'm not doing any cooking in this marriage. I have said it too. But I mean, it's a 50-50 as you say, right?
Yeah, 50-50.
Occasionally, I just make a bread and butter for Kim.
That is excellent, boy. But we don't have no butter. Yes, so recognizing, and you have to recognize that the roles could change, as you say, right? You get up in the morning and Mama Lou feeling a little tired. What am I to do? Tell her, hey, look, my belly rumbling, Go out there and fix me up now, man. It's like I see a short, a video short. Fella come in the kitchen, he raise up the cloth, he see some chicken, he go there, he see some rice, and big man thing, yeah?
It's me talking about it.
It was you? Big man thing, boy. The same way the man raised the cloth, he could have put a piece of chicken on the plate, he raised the next pot, he see a little rice, he could have put a little rice there. Big man thing, boy.
I don't know Farmer Harry's height. But what you talk about there in terms of expressing, looking at your wife and thinking or expressing gratitude or just feeling it, real important. And I guess that increases the love that you have, that's the conversation, right?
Yes.
The things that you can do that could increase or decrease the love after the period of time. Yes. So as part of forming the bond, it is about you feeling a sense of gratitude towards your wife. Precisely. Even in quiet moments in your mind.
Right.
While she's sleeping.
That's right.
You're looking at her.
Now, this is going to sound a little kind of strange, eh? As the years roll by, Mommy, and this is not a big deal because everybody snores, right? But Mommy snores, and sometimes it could be a little heavy. I have never left the bedroom because of Mommy snoring. I have never left the bedroom to Mommy and the children. The children fall asleep, I take them, I put them in the bed. Mommy snoring. If I was ever inclined to say, oh God, this one snoring again, boy, I will lose sleep. And let me say now, I had a thought, what if Mommy pass away, boy? What would I give for one snore? So I have learned to adjust and not count myself as priority. Hey, you were telling me something a while ago about a man. Repeat it again. You were telling me something about a fellow who wanted to better himself.
Oh, we were talking about this same topic you're on. And one of the things that came up in terms of decreasing the love that you have for somebody is changing priorities.
Right.
You know, your priorities change. It probably do include the person in some way. And, well, the love decreases in that sense, right?
But not
You're
intentionally, not intentionally.
What do you mean, you're changing priorities?
No, you change the priority, but not with the intention that your love will increase. It happened.
It happened.
Right.
Okay, so an instance of it is somebody might go from, let's say during COVID, people who were at home, they were forced to be at home, and then maybe when things reopened, a lot of men would have gone from being home men to hanging back out at the rum shop.
Right.
So your priorities, even if that was you before, but your priorities shifted and now you no longer have the same amount of time for the person. So that is a change in priority that is negative towards. It's not a positive for either party there, maybe, because you're now dealing with things in excess, like maybe alcohol or your time outside. But I was telling you about an instance with a man who he appeared on this show. I don't remember the name of it, but it is a reality show where someone might be like about 300 or 400 pounds, and then they will hook up with this coach. They'll have the first 3 months to train, and over a 9-month period, they will see how much weight the person actually lost.
Right.
There's an episode with a guy called Tony, and Tony is in a relationship. I believe he was a divorcee. He's in a relationship now with a woman, and their lifestyle was one where every day they go to Denny's or IHOP or someplace, and that is the priority.
Right.
But his priority shifted towards a lighter, better me, somebody who's fitter. He probably in his 50s, and because his priority changed, and it was a positive change for him, it started affecting their daily routine.
Right.
And they would end up, spoiler alert, they would end up separating in the episode because of that. They went their different ways. Because his shift in priority, which was a better thing for him, conflicted their relationship.
But how do you think he should have handled it to give free? How both parties should have handled it to save the marriage.
They weren't married. They were, I think, just living together.
Okay, but
so it wasn't deep, right? Living together in a common law type arrangement.
How do you balance that?
There are times. I feel like there are times where you might be trying to build something in your life, and based on your own personality, there might be some moments where you have to be a little bit obsessive about something. And you can't help that. Hey, listen, here's what, the next 3 weeks going and be a little bit hard in terms of this. Okay, I am filling out Farmer Harry's passport form here.
Right.
We hope to send Farmer Harry to Antigua, and things looking positive, it going well. Now, Farmer Harry would go to Antigua for 1 week, enjoy a week there, and he'd come back home. Because of our working relationship, it'd be awesome if I could go with Farmer Harry. But I have certain responsibilities, and I would say to myself, you know what? On a human, I could change my priority here. But is it really worth the shift?
That's right.
And if one of the things that could probably increase your relationship with somebody is communication. If I talk to my wife and I say, here's what, from a business point of view, I think this may open certain doors for us. It would bring a kind of climax to Harry's story, and then we make a decision. Now, if I go for the week and a little bit obsessive that, hey, this really should be done, then the husband and wife, they might need to make, am I willing, as you shift that priority, to support you? I do believe, honestly, as much as I would like to go on a certain level, I believe being at home with my family is the more important thing there.
That's right.
That is the but if I did, would it be a wrong thing?
Well, if the wife is very understanding and understand the motive and understand the end product, she could say, hey, Linda, I think you really should go with Harry. But then you see, your commitment is also to your family. And family means your children and definitely your wife. So you have to decide that. But I would opt for family life.
Yeah.
I remember going to England because I wanted to go to England, and then BWIA sent this phone call and I just grabbed at it because I wanted to go.
You're already married?
Yes, and your kids were around. I don't know if, I can't remember if you were there. No, you were not in the picture at all. This would have been back in 60, maybe in 1980. You were born when? 81?
82.
82, no, you weren't born then. But I grabbed it because Louise knew I want to go to England. Lance wants to go to England. She gave me a blessing. But you know what happened? It was just being there, but there was a void. My family wasn't with me. I achieved what I wanted to through this free trip to England, but it was lonely still. I had a nice big suite in a hotel, Piccadilly Hotel, but it was an empty bed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So priorities are important.
But if it is that a priority shift to something like health, and it's a man or a woman that has probably been kind of struggling with this item, and they know I need to be a little bit obsessive with it just at the beginning to get the results that I'm looking for to improve my health, and it starts to bring up a strain in the marriage. And the love start to decrease based on that.
Do a revision.
I think it could kind of send up some red flags to that couple that, hey, no, this is not a aimless thing the person pursuing here. They're not going down the road to drink rum, as you might say in Trinidad. They're going and hang out with their partners. No, this is a positive shift. So I can't identify what it might be, but I would say, hey, it has something stirring in the background, whether it's on an individual level or a partner level, that is bigger than or more problematic than somebody wanting to go and do something positive for themselves.
That's right.
I'm talking too much.
No, you're talking good, man. You're giving me some good things there. There's something called the 20-year itch. How long are you married?
8 years?
Oh, you got 12 years to get to this then.
The 20-year itch? Oh, okay.
Okay, the 20-year itch is described as when your children grow up and they move out. And suddenly, let's say you have 2 kids, as you do. And in 20 years' time, Haley would be, 28? She probably moved out before that. And Hannah would be about 25, 26, okay? Now you and your wife have to find time together. Because you had all these distractions with mortgage, let's say, and you own your vehicles and whatnot, and you had all this responsibility of secondary and university, and now you're together. But if in the 20 years you did not fully bond, you're going to be almost semi-strangers, eh? Right? Your kids have moved out.
Kim and I were having a conversation about this recently, because we were talking about like sleeping arrangements. You mentioned it earlier, where our children, they share the bed with us, right? And so we sleep like almost like you ever see a Tetris board. They three of them in a line, and I at the foot of the bed.
Right.
Now sometimes I think there's a serious downside to it. As much as I enjoy the children being there, and the reason that I continue with it is because I know one day them girls going to hit 11 or 12 years old, and they go in and be in their own room. They go in and be on their own thing, their own distractions that they have. And when they go, I'm going to miss them. Right? But when they do go, whether it's in 20 years or what, when they do go, I will now kind of go back to sleeping next to a wife that I may not have slept in that sense,
Right.
like next to this person.
You gotta get a mannequin now and that.
So yeah, it's we joke and laugh about it, but I think it's a real serious thing you're talking about there in terms of you might realize when the house is now empty. I think about you and mommy all the time with that, you know, and other parents with that. You go from a full house to an empty house.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now we have all this time on our hands, right? That's why vacationing is important. You know, mommy likes to travel. I objected, I kind of rebelled many times about going, but I realized all the value of traveling, and I could enjoy what she enjoys, especially when she's paying the bill, right?
Exactly.
So that, you know, I remember, right? I used to like to lie next to mother on an evening. I was maybe 5, 6 years old. And one day it occurred to me, I was lying there next to her, and I heard the footsteps of the old man coming in through the bedroom. And she said to me, Lance, go to your room. Your father is coming. And you know what occurred to me, boy? This is his place. His place is next to this woman. And for 57 years, they lived together, had their quarrels, maybe had their little fights, but he was dutiful. He made breakfast for her, right? He gave her the money to spend. He allowed her to go to the racetrack, right? He never asked her whether she won or she lost, right? He gave mother her space. And I believe that in marriages, 20 years, 30 years, that deep understanding you will have. You give your partner the space to be themselves. If mommy takes up the cell phone and she calls her family or she calls somebody abroad, right? I have to respect that this is her space. If I seek to control, it's going to deteriorate the relationship, right? So as we move from the 20 years and we're moving now into the 30-year bracket, you're getting older. One of the things that must never happen in marriage is a competitive spirit. A competitive spirit is a bad spirit to have in a marriage. And sometimes, if we are not careful in how we speak to each other, you start to create a void. I want to be absent. I can't discuss anything with this person because this person is a little. I must understand when my partner is also not feeling well. Right? Yesterday we were doing a video. I really wanted to do it because I think time. Am I keeping it back?
No.
I thought that time was important to produce this thing, right? And somebody said, and there are people, when you make your videos, they're out there, they are observing your behavior. They may not be content creators, but they are very good observers. And one person said, Mama Lou, you look sad. Were you feeling ill? And I had to admit that that person was right on target because mommy wasn't feeling too well. Maybe I kind of pushed her into the video and she wasn't her bubbly self. I was trying to establish that, hey, mommy, you know, come along. So even appreciating the other person's feelings and not being catapulted into a certain frame, right? Not that it was fake, but I had to admit to that person, you're right. And mommy was really tired, right? But she was feeling better. So when we do things, people are observing. You have a relationship with your wife. A lot of people are going to say, okay, you have a good relationship, right? You have the respect. What they see in your home, or what you project when you leave your home, if it's different, it's fake almost, eh? It's fake almost. So we want to move from the 20-year.
But can I add something?
I want you to add.
Yeah. What you're talking about is mutual support. And all too, I have. I don't know if it's something that I don't think it's restricted like men. I admire. Let me start over. I admire when I see a spouse who encourages another spouse in their own thing. I am grateful that I have a wife who lends me a lot of support. So, but we're talking about mutual, me reciprocating the support, right?
Precisely.
Good. I would say there's an aspect of Kimberly that I neglected for a very long time. And it was only when I worked with her when she was making a cake and I recorded a video with her that I realized I was not supporting my wife in her thing.
Right.
She was I mean in the background. I could describe myself as a workaholic, right? You know, constantly thinking about work, and I realized in that moment while I'm filming and the care that going into it and the devices that coming out, something looking like a hacksaw to cut the cakes, another piping because you want this flour but you want it fine, you want the tools fine or the petals bigger, and you pull out and drawers started to pull, kitchen drawers started to pull.
What kind of drawers you thinking about?
Right? And you realize, wow, I neglected the support that she deserved and that she never asked for. And that she was so willing to give me in line with what I do in so many dimensions. Sorry, you're going to say something.
No. And now you're beginning to have a full appreciation of what this woman is about, eh?
Yes.
Who she is, eh?
Yes.
Right.
So it opened my eyes. I think it was a real moment of reckoning, and this is like 3 or 4 years into our marriage. So there may be little things that a spouse is doing in the background, and you realize even the children coming around, and they might just show me a drawing. I've spoken about this already.
Yeah.
And I just kind of bypass it. And if I'm not careful,
Yes.
it is something that I could easily lapse into again.
Yes.
I know you want to move on to the next point,
No,
but I
no.
will quickly add this.
No, you
2024 here.
Mm.
You know, Happy New Year to everybody watching this.
Same here.
And all the best. I wish you all the best. But something that I've been trying to do is bring a little bit more structure to my life. A little more structure in terms of time and commitments that I know at this period I'm waking up, I'm doing this between these hours. So I actually have it now. Yeah, and I'm a little bit obsessive, as we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, I know that Kimberly will be up by a certain time doing things in the kitchen, and if I happen to have been working before, there's a certain time I need to stop.
That's right.
And I need to go and help. I like to start something and finish it, but sometimes finishing it might take 6 or 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to stop and lend family time, and then I need to stop in the afternoons. The girls get a period to relax and say, hey, I must finish all my yard work by a certain time. It mightn't be completed in the sense that I would like to see it completed. Yeah. But there's the time that I could go and play some Ludo with my children or some Suck the Well.
That connection,
Yeah,
that connection, yes.
And spend time with our wife. Yeah, it might be in the midst of the children. And then I realize now, okay, I need to take it a little bit further perhaps, and it should have some little kind of segment inside of there. When the children have gone down, that I could spend a little time with my wife, even if it's 10 or 15 minutes.
That's right. That time with the wife is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And mutual support in terms of saying, how was your day at work today?
Yes, simple things.
Yeah, boy.
Simple things. Like he cares, she cares, He cares and she cares. And
so mutual support.
Mutual support. And the thing about it is your children are observing it. They are observing, and they are going to carry into their lives exactly what they have learned. What they have learned. Mutual support, connection. Now, after 20 years of marriage, there's something called sprucing up your marriage.
Sprucing up your marriage. Before you talk about sprucing up your marriage, you're at the 29-minute mark.
Yes.
Yeah? I just let you know you're at the 29-minute mark, right?
Yes.
Sprucing up your marriage. Go ahead. Hello. Good. Okay. You can get that 764 number.
Okay, sprucing up your marriage after 20 years. One of the ways they say is that you can plan regular date nights. You might have a financial restriction to this, because that's the time when you have your kids and things are, monetarily, it mightn't be possible. But Lasana always used to say, and he still does, use the simple things you have in your fridge. You don't necessarily have to go to a big time restaurant to spruce up, to have a regular date night, You can have one on the beach. You can have one in your living room as we did yesterday, right? What was your concept of, a date night?
A date night?
I mean, you're kind of young in marriage still, but you must have a sense of how you would like to maintain a date. Because you did it a lot before you got married.
Yeah. Boy, Dad, when the opportunity presents itself, like we may visit in Couva or come down here, and the girls might probably take half an hour with you all. And it might be something as simple as going and drive to the grocery. That's the two of us alone.
Yes.
It is, I count it as an opportunity to spruce up the marriage. It might be boring in the sense as we're not going somewhere fancy or but it's so enjoyable when you really get the moment to spend a little 10 or 15 minutes with your partner alone, boy. Yeah. Not always possible given your schedule and the caregivers, but if you have access to, your mother drop the chair by them, boy.
Hey, go cool, eh?
Yeah. Well, I said we just tend to get the time.
A longer drive.
Yeah. No, it's important. Not necessarily always possible. I mean, I think about married couples, young married couples with children that you may be living far or renting away from your parents, maybe your parents deceased. So, I know it's not always possible.
Okay. What about hobbies that you all could share together? We're almost at the end of this thing there. What about hobbies? She makes her cakes, you do your content creation. Mm-hmm. But what is your hobby together when you do your live chat?
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that Kimberly enjoys, and we do it together. Mm-hmm. And she even funny enough that I bring up that, because she asked me the other day, she said, when next we doing one?
Right.
So I will talk to her about doing one tonight on her channel. So I'm glad you bring it up.
Yeah.
Because for her to bring it up, it means something important. It's like, a long time we really didn't do one, but I never acknowledged or committed and said.
And she knows right now you're busy. So she's not pressing for it. But you see, this is where the consideration comes in. She's not pressing for it. But your realization is, hey, something, I really should do one. I really should do one.
And it is good that when we have good examples in the form of friends, family, people who have walked the walk as you and mommy do, that as a younger couple, you could turn towards them and you could be reminded from our wiser head, our older head. What's your hobbies? Why you all enjoy doing together? Well, live streams might be one of them. Well, do one with your wife,
There is one more to end this. What new way can you find to be, now be very careful with the word I'm going to use. What new way can you find to be more intimate with your partner?
Emotionally intimate?
Emotionally intimate, yeah. What new way? You talk about going to the groceries together, right? Maybe you just slip into Linda's to buy a bread. You sit down, you have a cake or something, right? What new way? Now remember, the whole concept is you're trying to avoid that void that will come later on. First, to begin with, you must be pushing the same head in the marriage. You must be going in the same direction in the marriage. If you're going with different motives and you're going with different, you're struggling against each other, you're going to end up in a void.
You touched on something. Was it shared experiences? The things you do, like going on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is, for me personally, I think there's a lot of. I don't want to tie this to something that is regarding household chores, right? shared experiences, yes, I look forward to if we could do things like vacations and what. But I'm talking about in terms of everyday living.
Right.
This is everyday living, and we hope that the contribution that we're making in this everyday living space, that it will help the love increase in 20, 30, or 40 years, right? There are moments throughout the day where my wife is involved in doing something that the entire family benefits from. There are moments likewise where I am doing things that the entire family benefits from. Mine might be outside the home in the yard. Hers might be in the kitchen. I need to show up in her spaces a little bit more. I need to, while she's preparing breakfast, don't necessarily wait until maybe she's moved on for the day and then I see about the wares and cleaning up and different things.
That's correct.
And likewise, it may have aspects in my everyday living in terms of the daily duties around the place that she shows up in my space. It might be a walk into the yard while I'm cutting grass. It might be, hey, you good?
Yeah.
No, she
Was that water?
Yeah, she does it, But I know from my end that talking about that I need to show up in her spaces a little bit more. And one of I was talking about kind of timetable and things. It may sound a little bit regimented, but I hope I'm not approaching it in a regimented way. Regardless of what those girls do when they come home, daughters, whether it is the schoolwork or they entertain themselves, iPad, playing their video games or whatever, at 4:45, they go and they take their bath. By 5 o'clock, I am coming out from the whatever chores I am doing for the day. I come inside, bathe, change my clothes, and we go in and sit down and do something together as a family.
Very good.
From 5 to 6:30. Even if as a daddy or a husband I feel Ludo again, boy, or suck me well. Because I am hoping not just for my wife, but at a family level, that I'm building something that the love could increase 50 years.
Yeah.
There's
one more question.
You are really one more thing?
No. I'm sorry, right? One more question. and it relates to every day. How do you react to, I don't want to use the word correction between parents, because we think of correction as between parent and child. But if I have done something that wasn't wise, or if I am planning something that is not really sensible, and you are told by your partner, I think, that's not a good idea. How do you, and this idea that you have is very important to you, how do you process what's the word, boy? Help me. How do you
feedback?
How do you process what she has said in terms of being a negative that you're planning? Because that is really something you could nurture and the sun could go down on your wrath,
Right.
You follow what I mean? The sun could go down on it, you didn't take it well. And because of this human aspect that we deal with, right? How do you really deal with that?
I have grown to trust my wife's instincts. I know there are ways that I might, there are things that I may not typically look for or see at the forefront that she may point out, and I give consideration to it. I would hope that when I give consideration to it, whether I take it as in a positive or a negative way, that I would hope that I respond wisely and kindly to it and even acknowledge it. There are times, especially if it is maybe like a business idea, there are times where you just have to, I've heard what I have to say, but this is something that I need to try. I need to see if this will leave the mark that I think it will leave. There are times where somebody might, something might take longer than expected, or it didn't work out favorable. But I must now be able to take that along with the feedback and say, okay, I could trust this. I trust the judgment already. But if a similar situation comes up in the long run, so I don't want to ramble it here, but I want to respond well to feedback like that. And I also want to be aware that there are moments where you might be on the verge of an idea that only you could see because is your thing, is your area, and I need to try this. And similarly, if she has something to try and she believes that she needs to try it, despite what I see, or the advice I recommend, that she could try it too, because sometimes you might be in a situation where feedback, not that the person hates you, not that the person wants to see you feel, or they don't like you to try new things, but it's just a different field. She's an electrical engineer, I'm a content creator. Sometimes she needs to try things that involve electricity that I would never touch, and sometimes I need to try things despite what she says. So is that kind of, I hope I answer your question.
Yeah, I think you've come pretty close. I think you'll make the 60 years.
I'll do like Tony and go and exercise, and try and make the 60 years.
So thank you, my friends, for being with us. We really enjoyed having you. Hope you have gained something from this. It has helped me to think a little more seriously about loving my wife more. And I'm sure that Lyndon is in the same zone.
Big man thing. So thank you very much. All the best. Can you... Right. Later, alligator.
Later, alligator.
Wait, don't go yet. No, I'm joking. You could go.